I were to ask you what the best and most iconic episode of SpongeBob SquarePants is, what would you say? Maybe the one where they're delivering a pizza?
Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza absolutely.
Or maybe the episode where SpongeBob tries to get into the salty spittoon?
How tough are you?
How tough am I? You got a new bottle of ketchup?
For me, the best and most iconic episode is Band Geeks. Yes, that episode. No question. This isn't just funny or nostalgic, it's kind of just the perfect episode. I mean, it's a rare kind that has iconic lines, meme-worthy scenes, real stakes, and a huge emotional payoff with a genuinely cathartic ending. It aired in season 2, which I consider to be right in the middle of the show's absolute prime, and it gave us everything from Squidward's existential crisis to one of the most legendary music performances in cartoon history. So let's walk through Band Geeks from the first note to that final sweet victory, and along the way we'll look at what makes it so special, not just to SpongeBob fans but in animation history. Okay, so let's start with the beginning. The episode comes out the gate with Squidward playing the clarinet badly, of course, as he usually does. So bad, in fact, that a pet veterinarian shows up at his door in concern that there's a dying animal within his home. We are less than 10 seconds in the episode and they hit us with a great joke like this. I love it.
Yeah, we're with the pet hospital down the street, and I understand you have a dying animal on the premises.
But then Squidward gets a call from Squilliam Fancy Son, his arch enemy from school. And I think this is actually the first appearance of Squilliam on this show. He basically just calls to gloat that he has a band and they got an opportunity to play at the Bubble Bowl. But because he is busy this weekend, he can no longer do it. So he asks Squidward, hey, can you and your band show up? And of course, Squidward says yes. So Squidward needs to find people to join his band, all of whom have never played a single instrument in their lives, or what it seems like have seen an instrument a day in their lives. But hey, I admire that they showed up for Squidward. This is the part of the episode where we get the iconic line from Patrick, is mayonnaise an instrument?
How many of you have played musical instruments before?
Do instruments of torture count?
No.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument.
Also, if you look next to Patrick, Sandy is holding what looks to be like a saxophone, but I have a question. How is she gonna play that saxophone? She wears a giant bowl of air on her head with a giant suit on. So explain that to me, Sandy.
Try to repeat after me. Brass section, go. Good. Now the wind. And the drums.
Alright, I don't know why, but this actually might be one of the funniest parts of the whole episode for me. They had no idea or even the concept of how percussions work, but they see all the other groups blowing air through their instruments and thought, well shoot, let's try that. I don't know, that's just hilarious to me. That's a good joke. That's good joke writing. So moving on, Squidward tells everyone to get into rows of 5.
Now I want everyone to stand in straight rows of 5.
Is this the part where we start kicking?
No, SpongeBob, that's a chorus line.
So once they do that, I don't know why, but out of all the people in this room, dumb Patrick thought that it would be a good idea to kick Sandy, the karate champion of Bikini Bottom. So they obviously get into a fight and we get another highly iconic part of the episode.
Whoever's the owner of the white sedan, you left your lights on.
So far, Patrick is 2 for 2 with his bits, and it really needs to be studied. Like, how did Sandy even do that? She removed his neck from his body and replaced his neck with a trombone? I don't think enough people are giving Sandy credit for what she just did to Patrick. That is crazy. So now we're on day 2 of practice. And by the way, did I mention that this episode was released on September 7th, 2001? Why did I mention that? No reason. I just think it's interesting. Anyway, they're starting to get the hang of things from what it seems like. I mean, they're marching a little bit. They're in a line. Sound is coming out of the instrument. But for some reason, Squidward tells the flag twirlers to spin the flags faster than is humanly or visually possible. So much so that they end up flying and killing themselves in a blimp. This is a crazy this is another hilarious joke from the episode, and it's also a very wild moment. At any moment, the flag twirlers could have just stopped twirling or let go, but no, they sacrificed themselves. Anyway, we cut forward to day 3, and I really like when the show gives us like a realistic scale of how small Plankton is, because he is a small character, and I feel like the later seasons kind of made him a bit bigger because of the visuals are too much of a contrast between like him and Mr. Krabs or him and like SpongeBob.
Day 4.
Well, this is our last night together before the show, and I know that you haven't improved since we began.
Yeah, Patrick might be the funniest character on this show. That's a solid 3 out of 3 solid bits for him this episode. He's killing it. Give this man a raise. The conflicts that arise in this episode are so random and so uncalled for. It's just peak SpongeBob. Like, why did this random fish guy decide to pick a fight with Mr. Krabs saying he has big meaty claws? Is it funny? Yeah, but was it called for? I don't think so. So they're about to fight, and I think SpongeBob hits them with a line that really confused me as a kid by saying,
Let's be smart and bring it off.
I've never heard someone say bring it off. It's always bring it on. So I just thought that was hilarious. But all hell breaks loose, and for some reason Patrick decides again to kick Sandy, the karate champion of Bikini Bottom. But in the end, this is where we get the realization that this band is not ready to perform tomorrow, and they really let Squidward down. Like, this is probably the only moment I've truly felt sad for Squidward, because he wanted so much with his life. He thinks he's fancy and can do anything. I mean, I don't know, the older you get, the more you kind of relate to Squidward. He was simple. He has simple wants and simple desires. He just wants to play his instrument, look at fine art, and live a good life. But anyway, the day arrives of the Bubble Bowl, and Squidward has no band.
So, where's your band? They couldn't come. They died. Then who's that? That would be my band!
Or so he thinks. You have to remember, Squidward is already at a point of defeat. His band sounds horrible. He's killed 2 citizens of Bikini Bottom, and everyone has been fighting each other. And now he has to perform at the Bubble Bowl, this huge event. And he's basically set up for failure. And Squilliam is loving every moment of this. But it is too late, and now it is their time at the Bubble Bowl to perform. And we see these real people in the audience, which I think is just so interesting, because they're obviously like on a very small platform in the middle of the football field. So here we go. It all comes to this. Let's perform.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't know about you. They could have just played that little intro right there, and I would have been happy enough, because that's a huge improvement for people who didn't play instruments 3 days ago. But they kept it going, and they kept building to one of the most epic performances. The crowd loved it. A full performance, drums, guitars, pyrotechnics, which are outside of a musician's scope. The crowd is loving it. Squidward is feeling it, and it just gives us this full circle moment.
It's the thrill of one more kill, the last one to fall. Who never sacrificed their will.
Squidward is feeling it, and it just feels like a full circle moment. They actually come together and accomplish a task and made not only Squidward proud, but did something that seemed impossible. This is just such a great ending to an episode, and it just feels so satisfying. And I'm sure many of you think some other episode is the best one. There's plenty to pick between seasons 1 and 3 that are easy 10 out of 10s, but I think this one ranks at the top of them all. But let me know what you think is the best episode. I'm really curious. Thanks for watching. Also, Dying for Pie is a great episode. That is a close second for me, only because of the absurdity that they made bombs into the shape of pies. I don't know. Whatever. I just think that's silly. I just wanted to mention that.